The Mafia King woke up, but he didn't open his eyes yet. His hands started traveling on the bed to know if you were still there, next to him. He took a deep breath after knowing that you weren't there. This time, he opened his eyes and rolled his fist. How long will you do this? He asked to himself while gritted his teeth. He went to the shooting range and took his gun and fired it over and over again. That way, he would release the grudge that he was hiding against you. Boss, you only have 3 hours to prepare before we leave for the mission. Just give me 30 minutes, he said and reloaded the bullet in his gun and continued firing. You and Jungkook have been married for 1 year. You met him by Kate since he is Jungkook's cousin. At first, you didn't like him because he looks rude and arrogant. But when you get to know him better, you've realized that you made a mistake because he is actually a kind and loving person. You two start hanging out until your relationship turns into a romantic one. You can really say Jungkook is a pretty rich person and he has a lot of property. One day you ask him where he gets the money to buy those things, as he said he is a businessman. Of course, you believe him. He has a lot of people and they call him boss. But you think it's normal for him to have a lot of bodyguards since he was rich and a businessman. So you didn't suspect him since you trusted Jungkook. Aside from that, he was your friend's cousin until he proposed to you and got married. But 1 month ago, he came home with a bullet wound and he was so weak. You were really scared at those times. Even though you are a doctor, you really convinced him to send him to the hospital. At least they have a complete equipment there. But he insisted to stay at home and get treatment there. So you quickly operated on him to remove the bullet from his stomach and thigh. After he get better, you ask him what happened. Jungkook just hug you very tightly and say, sorry. You got more even confused on what's really going on. Why he's saying sorry? Then finally Jungkook confessed that he lied to you about his real identity. You found out that your husband is a powerful mafia king. Your world almost collapsed. You felt a mixture of anger and fear towards him. Anger because he lied to you. He explained that he was afraid to tell you the truth because you might avoid him. This is the first time he's truly in love with a woman, so he'll do everything to make you as his. He begged you to forgive him. He also asked you not to be angry with Kate since he also begged her not to tell you the truth. Since then, your attitude towards him has changed. You has become cold towards your husband and you start avoiding him. Jungkook and his team already left his mansion and were on their way to their mission when Jungkook suddenly spoke. Doro, let's go to the hospital where YN work, he commanded. Yes, boss, Doro answered and returned the car. Jungkook got out of his car and went to the hospital lobby. Nurse, can I talk to my wife? The nurse recognized him immediately and replied, I'm sorry, sir, you can't disturb Doc YN because she's in surgery now. Jungkook nothing could be do but left even though he wanted to see your face. Meanwhile, when you arrive at his mansion, you notice that his car and other vehicles were not there. When you enter the house, it was quiet. You only saw the maids and a few of his men. You couldn't stand it, so you asked, "Where's my husband?" The butler came and answered you, "They are in the mission, madam." What mission? You felt nervous and scared at the same time when you heard the word mission. The feeling that you were traumatized by that word. You sat in the living room and asked for water because your whole body was shaking. You took your phone out of your pocket to check what time is it, as you saw that your husband had 68 missed calls to you. You want to call him, but something seems to be stopping you from doing so. You're afraid that you will find out some bad news, so you choose not to do it. One midnight, your husband isn't home yet. You start to panic. What if something happened to Jungkook? You felt anxious and restless. You already drank 4 cups of coffee, but still Jungkook hasn't come yet. Until your eyes landed on your phone and dialed Kate's number. Good thing she's still awake. "Kate, do you have any news about your cousin?" You ask. "Huh? You mean my cousin Jungkook, your husband?" Mm, he's not here yet." "Relax, YN. I'm sure he's okay." You woke up at 8 a.m. You didn't realize that you fell asleep on the sofa while waiting for your husband. You hurriedly got ready to go to the hospital, but before you left the house, you finally had the courage to call your husband. But unfortunately, his phone was off. Time skip. You're busy monitoring your patient when Kate came up to you, panting. "Oh, YN, Jungkook," she said. You look at her and ask, "Why? What about him?" Doro said, "He was hit by a bullet." You suddenly turned pale, and you just dropped the chart that you was holding in shock. Kate was about to say something, but you won't hear it because you just ran out of the hospital and took a taxi. You entered your shared room as you saw him sitting in the couch while his body was full of blood and he looked exhausted. He slowly opened his eyes and saw you taking something from the cabinet, a box containing of operation tools. You really purposely prepared this in case of emergency. "Why are you here?" he asked in surprise. "Lay down," you said. "You don't need to do all of this. I am perfectly fine." I said lay down. This time the tone of your voice raised a little bit. You pulled a chair and brought it in front of him and sat on it as you start opening his shirt button. "Why are you undressing me?" You look at him and say, "Do you think I can remove the bullet from your waist if I will not undress you?" You said, and roll your eyes. You took some tools and started to remove the bullet buried in his body when you heard him hissing in great pain. "YN, Are you really going to remove the bullets from my body without giving me an anesthesia? He asked again. Why should I? Why I will give you an anesthesia? You didn't even complain about the pain you felt when you got shot. But now you're complaining because I'm removing the bullet? I thought you are brave. Alright, fine. Just do whatever you want. You continue to operate him, but this time you do it slowly so that he doesn't get hurt as much until you successfully remove the bullet. You're about to finish stitching up his wound when Jungkook spoke again. Can you love me again? You pause on what you're doing after you see a water dropped in your hand as you realize it was your husband's tears. Stop it. I don't want to talk about it, you said, and cut the thread and put a bandage on his wounds. After that, you're about to leave. You will avoiding me again? Why every time I talk to you, you're avoiding me? Why did you become so cold to me? Take a rest. I know you are tired. I know it's all my fault because I lied to you. But I just did that fucking lie because I love you so much. I'm afraid you'll be afraid of me or stay away from me, he said, as you break down in front of you. That breaks your heart. Imagine he is a scary person. His laws are followed by his group. But here he is now, crying in front of you because of you. You approach your husband and hug him. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was hurting you, you said. Jungkook hugged you tightly while burying his face in your neck and cried out aloud. Please love me again. I didn't stop loving you. My feelings for you didn't change, even though you were a mafia. I'm just afraid of losing you for being a mafia. Jungkook, this is my second time seeing you injured. Maybe next time you will survive. I'm not the only one who needs you. Your child in my belly also needs you too. Jungkook broke the hug and looked at your eyes. What do you mean? He asked. I'm pregnant of your child. Jungkook hugged you again while patting your head. Then it's time to give up for being a mafia. I'm not making you choose. What I'm talking to is just be careful because every time you leave, I'm worrying about you. But YN, while I'm in the mafia world, I can promise that I'll always be safe. Choosing you and my family are the best choice. Don't worry. From now on, I promise you, you won't see me wanted again. Jungkook said as he kissed your forehead. Jungkook passed his Mafia King status to his trusted person, Doro. He just focused on his businesses and his family. The end. Thank you for watching, Coobies.